Hi everyone, welcome back. Let's write some more Leetcode today. Today we are solving count the hidden sequences. So this problem description is quite long, but basically it's saying that we will start at an integer, and at each element in differences, we will either increase or decrease by the element in differences, and then by the end of the sequence, all the numbers needs to be greater than or equal to lower and less than or equal to upper. So if you look at this example, the output will be 2, because these are the only two possible hidden sequences, where if we first increase by 1, then decrease by 3, and then increase by 4, all the elements will fit between lower and upper. And if we look at this example, there will be 4 possible hidden sequences, so the output is 4. So now that we have seen some examples, let's get to how we can solve this problem. So let's go over the intuition behind this. So we can obviously use a graph, but hypothetically, we know that the maximum number of sequence would be if a number never decreases or increases. So meaning all the elements in the array would be 0. So that way, we know that the maximum would be upper minus lower plus 1, which would be 10. And we know that because the element can always stay at 5 or 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, -1, -2, -3, -4, which are 10 possible sequences. So that's where we get this part of the equation from, the upper minus lower and the plus 1. So what we can do is we can start the graph at 0, and as we loop through this graph, we can find when is the graph at its lowest and when is the graph at its highest, and then we can subtract the highest by the lowest over here. So the overall formula would be upper minus lower minus the highest point in the graph minus the lowest point in the graph and plus 1. So that's the formula that we can use to solve this problem. And if this is ever greater than this, then we can return 0 immediately, because we know that if the gap from here is greater than the gap from here, then we will not be able to fit in any sequences. And now let's go over this example real quick. So we will use difference to track all the points in the graph, and then lowest to keep track of the lowest point, and highest to keep track of the highest point. So first, we increase by 1, so this is where our point is at, and current highest would be 1. Now we decrease by 3, so we are at -2, and we can update the lowest. And now we increase by 4, so we can update difference and the highest. And now that we have come to the end, so we can plug in the formula. 6 minus 1 minus 2 minus -2 plus 1 would equal to 2. So we can return 2 as the result. And the time complexity would be O of n, where n is the number of elements in this array. So it will take n time to loop through the elements. And the space complexity would be O of 1, because we are not using any extra space. So now let's get to the coding part. So first, we'll set the variable for lowest, and then highest, set it all to 0. Difference will initialize to 0. Now we loop through the differences array. So we will update by adding d to differences. And the lowest will be the minimum between lowest and the new difference. And the highest will be the max between highest and the point, which is diff. And if highest minus lowest is ever greater than upper minus lower, then we will just return 0. And if we have iterate through, then we can plug in a formula, upper minus lower minus highest minus lowest plus 1. Okay, see if it works. Okay, perfect. Hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching. If you have any other questions or comments, feel free to leave it down in the comment section, and I hope to see you all again soon.